Going once, going twice. Sold.
Number three, is condemned homes, or really kind of tear down type properties, because they may not have been condemned yet. It kind of depends on the city. Some cities are more on top of it than others, but this is the number one risk associated with buying tax deed homes or tax deed commercial property. The condition can make a property really worthless regardless of how much you paid for it. So there's homes out there that we could buy for, let's say $10 or $100 right now that we would never buy, because the condition is such that it's not going to make sense to buy the property. It's going to cost more to fix the property up than the property is worth. And this is part of the reason why we always stress, we say it all the time, about getting on-site evaluations done.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of properties, out there that are money traps. They're money pits. You wouldn't want to, you wouldn't want to buy them because they need more work than what they're worth. And in fact, and not only that, but to increase the risk with a lot of these properties, many of them are also very value limited. And a value limited property, I mean, that's probably the main issue with these types of properties. Is it's not always necessarily their condition, but it's their value. Because they don't have values that are high enough to justify the kinds of repairs that they're going to need. That's usually the biggest issue. I mean, we don't generally run into this kind of an issue with properties that are valued at $250,000, or a $300,000 property, or even even $150,000 property. A lot of times, you won't run into it so much with. But it's the properties that are under 100,000. It's properties that are valued at 60,000 or at 50,000. You have to be really careful, because obviously it doesn't take a whole lot of invested money, into a property like that before, you could exceed what the property is worth, and you're not necessarily getting your money out of it, that you're putting into it. That's the ultimate risk there, is that that you could have a property that could need $100,000 worth of work and still not be worth more than 80.
Yeah, I was just trying to say that. Probably can't find it, but I was just reminded me of one of the properties that we went to, that you went out with some of the students and took photos of. There was a couple of homes by the lake, and remember how some guy had a shootout or something in, but the windows were all out.
Oh yeah.
It's amazing how many times that we'll go past and we'll view a property, or even our coaching students will, work with their coaches, go get photos of properties, and realize that, hey, we can't bid on this property. This is a serious mess. And then see people bidding on at the auction, and that the only thing that they've done is just check the Google Street View, which could be a couple of years old. And so a lot can change within that time. So, when we're looking at property, if we do see something like a sign in the property, if we're getting on-site evaluations, we'll look at that. In fact, it's something that we'll mention to people that we hire to go out and take photos. If you see a sign there, try to get a close-up of the sign, if you can, or a good photo, so that we can zoom in and see what that, and when I say sign, what I mean is kind of what we see here, some type of piece of paper that's been taped to the door, or the window, or something like that, that essentially is a condemned notice.
Yeah, in fact, Daniel and Carla have, they say, before getting pictures, we usually call the county to verify if there are any condemned or demolition orders on, or any other red flags to avoid before spending the money to get the pics. And that's a great idea. Anything you can do there to avoid wasting your money on, on photos on properties, is a good idea. Because obviously, uh, if we can make a quick phone call to help us avoid uh, sending somebody out to drive past a property, yeah, then that's great. Anything you can do to narrow down a list like that, and contacting the county is actually a really good idea before you put together a driving list of properties, just because the county, or whoever the government entity is that will know best, the county may know.
The county might eventually know once they do the paperwork,
Mhm.
because they'll have to send it to the county to have the paperwork go through. But before that, the city as well would be the first one, because they may be in the process where they haven't issued it with the county yet. So I think
Yeah.
that's a real good idea to give the county a call. You could also give the city a call as well, to see if there's any issues on the property. In fact, that's also a place where we can look for government liens, as well, and ask about those at the same time. This is just a photo. We probably had a thousand others that we've seen where, we're looking at a Google photo. It looks like it's pretty good. And you know, a year later have a drive by it and, you know, get a photo like this. In fact, if you look at the photo there on the left, if you look at that window in the front, it kind of looks like it's purple or something. That actually has an open window right there. And so, you know, having it open window, that's going to be one of the number one risks for us, or something that's going to make us worry, especially if the property's abandoned. I mean, if the property's occupied, then it's not a big deal. But if the property's abandoned, we don't know who's been in that property. We don't know what it's being used for. And so if this is a value limited property, unless we see a lot of other things that are good about the property, we're going to avoid it just based on the fact that the window is open and you know, it doesn't look like anyone's home.
Yeah. In fact, neighbors sometimes are such good sources of information. If whenever we're out driving properties, it's always nice to talk to neighbors about properties, because they can tell you sometimes within just a few minutes, details you wouldn't get anywhere else, and that you probably even have a hard time finding online. They can tell you exactly what's going on here with properties. Also, if you own properties in there as an investor, if you own a property there in the neighborhood, you want local advocates. You want somebody that feels comfortable sending you an email, or reaching out to you if there's something going on with your property. Especially being an out-of-state investor, those people are like gold to you, and they can actually make or break your investment in a lot of these neighborhoods. If they want a property condemned, they can gripe to the county about vagrants being in it to the point where it will be condemned. But at the same time, they can also be a good watch out. If you want to have somebody that can keep an eye out on properties, good neighbors are worth talking to.